Hey guys, it's Andrea from the blog Pine and Prospect Home. My voice is still not at 100%, so I apologize for that today, but I wanted to do something fun and share our Thrifty dining room refresh with you. If you were to watch our home tour from last year, you may have noticed in the background of some of my videos that our dining room looks a little bit different than it did last year, and I haven't had a chance to really share all of that on my blog yet. So today I'm going to share some of those changes with you and how I did it, of course, on a very low budget. So the first thing that you may have noticed in our dining room is our dining room table. Our old dining room table was built by my husband 6 years ago. He surprised me with it on Christmas Eve, and I loved that table, and we hung on to it for a very long time. But my husband, as he began to learn more about wood and he got more tools over the years, he really wanted to try making a new one, a better one. This past fall we sold the old table. I believe I sold the table and bench for like $150, and then we used that money to build a new table. Doing this saved us a lot of money. We didn't have to go to a store and pick out a whole new set. My husband had some fun with some of his tools, and he sort of just whipped this new table up. We really didn't follow any plans or measurements. I just drew it on a piece of paper and showed him sort of what I had in my head, and then he built it. And I have been meaning to share the measurements on my blog, but I haven't had the chance yet. I have to measure it all and figure out exactly what we went with. But I love the way that this new table looks in our dining room. I used a combination of stain colors to get this old weathered pine sort of feel for the table. I didn't want it to be too gray, but I didn't want it to be too dark, and I love the way that it came out. It is honestly so beautiful. So that table project sort of began a series of changes in our dining room. One thing led to another, and I was searching on Facebook Marketplace one day, and I came across a chair that had a beautiful cross back design, and I just loved the look of it, and it matched my new table perfectly. And so I snatched that chair up, and unfortunately it was just one chair, but it was only $20, and so I snagged it up, and I happened to find a match for it online, and I will share all of these links in my blog post. So I ended up ordering another one, and I decided to use those for my end chairs. My husband built a bench for the one side of the table for the kids, because that's just the easiest way for the kids to get up and down off the table. It's so easy to clean, it's very sturdy, so they can't tip it over, and I love the way that that looks. And then on the other side of the table, I decided to keep my wicker chairs that I had had before. They just add this cozy feel to the dining space, and they add a lot of warmth and texture, in my opinion. I got those chairs on sale. They were on clearance at Target years ago, and they were actually in the outdoor section, but I ended up grabbing just the floor model that they had out all summer, and I got them at a really good price. I will try to link a look-alike in my blog post if you're interested in finding something similar. The dresser that we use sort of as a buffet table in our dining space used to be white, and it's kind of gone through a series of changes. It really needed to be painted. It was kind of beat up. It was one of the first pieces of furniture in this home when we moved in that I painted, and it's just one of those pieces that I've loved for a long time. I love the lines of it, the way that the front curved. So it was white, and I decided to paint it a dark gray. I didn't end up liking the dark gray, so then I went with a softer, lighter gray, and then I stripped all the hardware down to the gold original brass finish, which if you watch my Christmas home tour, you'll see that the handles are brass, and I really loved it at first, but then after a while I felt like the gold was a little bit too glitzy or something. I can't put my finger on it, and sometimes I can't always explain it. I love brass accents. I have brass accents all over my home, but on that dresser for some reason it just wasn't working with the rustic table, and so I ended up switching them back to black. I spray painted them oil rub bronze, but then I added some soft gold paint on them to give them that aged brass look like they had before. Our shelves, of course, were DIY projects, and I have a whole blog post all about those shelves and where we got the corbels that I will also link in this post. The other change that you may have noticed is the rug. So I had this amazing opportunity to work with Ruggable Rugs for our dining space, and I cannot tell you how amazing this rug has been. With 3 little boys, they spill a lot of food. They drop a lot of things. Ketchup and jelly sort of gets jammed into the fibers, and this rug is so easy to clean. I just take a soapy sponge and everything has come right out of this rug. I have a code for you guys that I will put in my blog post if you're interested in purchasing a Ruggable rug, but I will say that they are completely worth it. Finally, the last change that I wanted to share with you is our new light fixture. So it's sort of a lantern style light fixture, and I probably would say that this was my only splurge in the space. I waited and waited until the big Black Friday sale, and then I snagged it up when it was super discounted. But I love this lantern in this space. It is rustic, the finish on it is sort of aged and chippy, and it really does look like a real antique. There are a few changes that I'd like to make in this dining room. One of those being the little dresser that's right off of the kitchen. That was a thrift store find and it really needs to be repainted, so I will probably be doing that very soon. We keep our napkins in that little dresser and linens, and so my boys are constantly opening the drawers and kind of beating it up a little bit, so I'm going to give that a new coat of paint very soon. There are, of course, a few other things that I would like to change. The curtains are just really cheap, like $5 curtains from Walmart. I get asked about them all the time, which is so funny to me, but one of my boys snipped one of them with scissors. You can't see in any of my pictures, but there's a pretty big hole in one of them. So I've been meaning to replace those, but I'll probably go with something very similar. My corner cabinet, I used to have just all white Falstaff in there, and I'm really wanting to put some different pieces in there, maybe more blue accents. I recently added some antique bowls that my mom gave me in the cupboard, and I really love the direction it's headed. I added some wood accents as well, wooden spoons. So I'm going to be thrifting and hunting for more pieces for my corner cabinet. We have beautiful flooring in this 1930s home. One of the first things my husband and I did was rip out all of the green carpeting that was here, and of course we had these gorgeous floors. They are very orange, unfortunately, and one day I would love to be able to refinish them, but for now they were in pretty good condition. There are some damaged areas that are sort of gray, just I think from water damage. One more thing that I would like to do, as you enter into the kitchen, you can see how it's sort of opened up. It never used to be that way. It used to be one single doorway, and the previous owner opened it up, which I love. I would like to case out that opening just like I did with the opening in our entryway. I think that would add a lot of character to this space. But overall, I really love where my dining room is headed. I think that this look is much more me, and I'm sure it'll continue to change over time. But for now, I think that it really has that cozy cottage style that I like to achieve in my home. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new to my channel, please be sure and hit that subscribe button.